Hey guys, Mumbles here with a new world video, and today we're going to talk about leveling and the best ways to level your character from the start to the finish, and what to do to best get the most out of your quests and experience and all that kind of stuff to better level your character. Don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell. Thank you guys. Let's jump right in. Some of the best things to do early game, and this doesn't really do much late game, however early game it does do quite a bit by do some crafting. Do a little bit of tanning, some jewelry, some smelting, all that kind of stuff to best give yourself a little bit of extra experience early game. Now, even though this doesn't do too much to you late game, you do lose a little bit of experience over time. Doing it early game is a huge way to get some early experience to help you guys out. And one thing that'll also happen with crafting and refining and stuff like that, it'll give you items that you can use later on, or currently that may give you it actually a better set of gear or something along those lines to better yourself, so you can deal more damage, get more kills faster, that can gain you more experience. And obviously connected to crafting or harvesting is also going to give you a little bit of experience. Again, not too much. Harvesting doesn't give you that much until you get to the higher levels, and at that point you're higher level, which takes more experience. So therefore it's still going to take a lot longer to level up using harvesting, but it is a little bit of a buff and experience, so don't just ignore it. The next thing is expeditions, and again, expeditions, they do give you a decent amount of XP. They don't give you a ton, for the pure reason that they don't want you to just sit there and just completely just farm them over and over and over and over. They want you to not have to run the same one over and over, and that you actually do over level the area pretty darn quick. When you start getting over to the levels, like if Amarine's recommended level 25 and you're level 30, it's almost pointless for you to run it. You should probably start running Starstone at like 32, 33, just because of the fact that it's just not giving you that much experience. The quests do give you quite a bit of experience to go in there. However, they are RNG quests, so you do have to bank on RNG getting the quest there to get the better experience. So the next thing is going to be town board quests and faction quests. Now, these don't give you a ton of experience. However, you can bundle them up to do the most amount of experience as possible. Brightwood, for example, does have a ton of their quests in one area. You generally right down here in this bottom right corner, so you can usually bundle up like 5 or 6, 7 quests at a time as by just doing these down here, rather than, let's say, Windsward. Let's say Windsward here has like 3 over here, 3 over here, 1 in the middle for a side quest. So basically you want to choose the quests that are all bunched up in one area, so that you can do the most amount of quests as possible, as fast as possible, to gain the most amount of experience. This also does go for side quests. Side quests do give you a little bit more experience than the town board quests and the faction quests. So any area where you can find multiple side quests in one area is probably key for you to gain the most amount of experience as quick as possible. As far as side quests, now the main storyline does give you a ton of experience as well, so keep your eye out for those as well. However, those is just one kind of linear set of quests, so it's really hard to kind of get more than one story mission, because they're usually set in a completely different area than everything else. So just keep that in mind. The next thing is going to be portals. Now, portals are all over the place. The higher the stage of the area, where Brightwood is tier 3, does spawn portals faster, as well as higher leveled portals. You have portals starting at 35, 45, 55, and 60 and 60 plus. So choose ones around your level. If you have a squad, you usually can go up like another step. So if you have a ton of people, like 6, 7 people at level 25 or 30, you can usually do the 35 ones just fine. Just keep in mind you're going to be getting hit pretty hard, so just keep that in mind with your health. Make sure you have a couple of healers that are doing really, really well with heals. However, what you do with portals is essentially just pick a cluster, wipe out the entire cluster. I tend to start with the big ones just so I can get the better loot. Take out the big ones first, then the little ones, and you can kind of make your way around. And by the time you get around the area, usually they're already trying to respawn, especially at a tier 3 or tier 2 area, where Brightwood's in an invasion. These will respawn super quick, and they'll also respawn the 55 ones more often, which will give you more experience and more loot. The next thing is elite zones. So most zones do have what's kind of like an elite area. For instance, Perryville, there's the Brightwood Isle, there is Dead Man's Cove. There's quite a few of these all around the area. These have a lot higher enemies. They're all like usually 25 up elites. They do recommend that it is 5 players or more. These are kind of like open air dungeons, so you can just kind of walk into them, walk out of them as you wish. rather than a normal expedition. You can only, once you're in, you're in. If you leave, you can't rejoin. If you can have a couple friends that you want to jump through and try to run a couple of these through. The one a lot of people kind of farm even late game is the Brightwood Isle one. There's some really, really good loot, a ton of chests, a ton of iron, magical plants, and magical rocks. So just keep these in mind when you're trying to level up. These are a really good place to get good weapon experience as well as personal experience as well. And a lot of these places do have quests here. So if you're looking to do quests while doing these elite zones, Brightwood is one where you can get 3 or 4 quests here at a time. There are 3 bosses on the island, so you have very well may get the quest to kill all 3 bosses at once, which is great experience. You get the quest done, and then you can get out, and there you go. Pretty good amount of experience, honestly. The last thing, and probably the most important thing, and it's not necessarily a thing you can do, but a thing you really need to pay attention to. Pay attention to what level you are and where you are in the world. If you're a level 45, 50, you don't want to be hanging out in Brightwood trying to earn experience. If you're in Brightwood, which is a 26 to 35 zone, as a level 50, you're going to be making very little, if any at all, experience. Try to stay into like Weaver's Fen, Morningdale, Restless Shore, any of those places that have higher level mobs to gain more experience. If you're a level 60, pretty much you want to stay Reekwater, Shattered Mountain, Eden Grove, or Ebonscale. Other than that, like, you're not going to be gaining much rewards as all. I mean, obviously, if you're level 60, you're getting experience. But if you're level 55, you don't want to be going to a level 10 or 15 zone. You want to make sure you're in the area where you're going to gain the most experience for the mobs that you're going to be fighting. And sometimes fighting creatures that are 2 or 3 levels above you, yes, it is a little bit more challenging. Just don't aggro 3 or 4 or 5 ads at a time. Aggro 1 or 2, kill them, move on to the next 2. Don't overdo yourself so that you're constantly dying, but make sure you're fighting mobs that are a couple levels ahead of you to gain the most experience from killing those mobs. So I guess this is my 5 things that I do and try to keep myself in check with to gain the most amount of experience while playing New World. Obviously, there are some unforeseeable things that you may need to do. Like right now, I'm going back and doing all the side quests, which granted isn't a lot of entry areas, but I want to get them done so I can get the later side quests in those kind of quest lines. So unfortunately, I do have to backtrack, but however, it's not that bad because, again, there are some that still give you a decent amount of experience for side quests, even at a higher level. These are meant to help you level up a little bit faster. So doing the side quests is key to getting the experience. Now, some of them in the entry level are a little bit rough, but again, we're trying to get the later side quests for those so we can gain more experience later on. So I hope this helped you guys out with trying to figure out on the best ways to level. Essentially, crafting is a very basic way to gain experience. Your town board and faction quests are another good way. Just make sure you're clustering them up to get the most quests done as fast as possible to gain the most experience. Next is doing the expeditions. Expeditions are a great way to gain experience, especially weapon experience, more so than your personal experience. However, make sure you're doing the quests inside of the expeditions to get the most out of it. Some of the quests for the expeditions are like 6, 7, 8,000 XP. That is a ton of experience for about a half hour, 45 minutes worth of work, compared to the 5K you're going to get for about 45 minutes of just traveling around. The next thing, make sure you're taking advantage of the elite zones. If you're a higher enough level or you have friends on, join a company and ask them if they want to do elite zones, because almost all the time, at least in faction chat, there's always people sitting there like trying to do certain elite zones so they can get the most experience. Keep your eye out for these, and obviously do your portals. Portals give you a ton of experience and a ton of great loot. So keep your eyes on those. When those do pop up, take advantage of those as quick as possible. But guys, I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to drop a like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell. Have a great day, guys. Goodbye. Deuces, y'all.